I'm Justin Davis, and this is Runcam's RC. Hey guys, thanks for joining me again on the Drone Camps channel. I'm Justin Davis, and I have another awesome review here for you today. We're going to do a double review today. We're going to do an Emax F3 Mini Magnum review for you guys, and we're going to do a review on the new Runcam Sparrow Micro. I just got this yesterday, and I had to take both of these and just build you guys a quad really quick so I could do some testing and just give you some opinion, my own opinion on these two new products. So we'll go ahead and get started first with the F3 Magnum little mini tower system. So here we go, we got a little bird's eye view of this board, and I'm pretty excited to get this actually because I actually really like the larger F4 Magnum, which I had a video on yesterday of. You should check that out. Pretty easy all-in-one board. Now there's a little bit of a difference between this one and the one I just showed you. The main fact is that this one does not have a built-in VTX on it, so that's the only difference. You're gonna have to add your own VTX on this board, but it is an F3 with Omnibus F3 firmware on here, and you can flash that in Betaflight. You also have onboard OSD, which is Betaflight OSD, so that's also nice. I don't have the OSD hooked up on mine right now, mainly because I just have this camera wire harness plugged in through the back of this TX25, and there's no direct connection. It's just powered off the board, that's it. So we also have integrated 5-volt and 3 amp BEC on board here. We have a built-in onboard buzzer, which is really nice. You can activate that on a switch right on your radio, so that's already soldered up. You don't have to do that. They include it already soldered up. That's also kind of nice. Now the measurements on this board are 24 across here. We have from edge to edge is 24, and mounting holes on here are actually 20 millimeter. So very standard in the micro brushless community. Now we also have two options for receiver setups on here. Like a lot of these boards out there these days, this one has Spectrum on this rail right here. This first rail, the first three over are Spectrum, that's ground 3.3 volt and RX3 right there. And the next row over, we have ground, 5 volt, PPM, and S-bus. You can see my black, red, and yellow wire right there. And as I said, this board is running an F3 on here. It's the STM32F303 chip right there in the center. And by the way, you can run this S-bus or PPM for your receiver, so no worries there. And just beside the beeper, by the way, if you look a little closer right here, see that gold button? That is the boot button. It's usually beside the USB, but for this board configuration, they put it over on this side of the board. Now, I have my board actually on a 90 degree so that I could actually get the USB port at the back, which was our one for this design. But if you see a little arrow right here, that's pointing forward, and traditionally you're going to have your ESC set up like motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, back here motor 4. Now over on this right hand side over here, we have OSD, ground, 5 volt, video out and video in over here on this far side, and below that we have RGB, which is ground, 5 volt, and LED right there. And over here hiding on this side, we have two tabs for your positive wire and your negative wire for your battery. Now, one note to you Spectrum guys, you're going to have to turn off S-bus inversion in CLI, so go into Betaflight, go to the CLI tab, and you're going to print in a command down below. You're going to print set space S-bus underscore inversion space equal sign space off. So once you do that, hit return and then save to file, and it should recognize that you put that in the CLI. Once you're done there, you should be able to go back to your receiver setup in the settings menu and select serial-based receiver spec sat and Spectrum 2048 for your receiver setup on this board. Now also in the ports tab for both different types of receivers on this board, you're going to have to do UART3. So go all the way down to the bottom and select UART3. Make sure that's checked to a yellow status, and that's going to be on, and then go ahead and save and reboot. Now I did test the F3 Magnum on a few different types of batteries, 2S battery and a 3S battery, and you know what, I got to report that the 2S battery out of Betaflight did perfectly. I didn't have to do any adjusts on PIDs or anything. I left them all at 70. All the super rates are the same, all the PIDs are the same, so everything is running good on the defaults. Now on 3S, after about quarter throttle, when I throttled up past there, I did get the wobbles. So you're going to have to do a little bit of PID tuning with this if you decide to go over 2S on it, and that's going to have to be done. But I'm also using Emax's larger style motors on this frame. I wanted to test these out because I just got these in. These are the RS 1106s from Emax. They're 7500 kV. So these are pretty hopped up motors. Let's see if I can get that to focus for you there. Really nice tall stack, super thick motor, and a lot of power, probably for something like a 2035 prop. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this Runcam Sparrow. This is the micro Sparrow box right here that I just got yesterday as well. It was a great day in the mail yesterday, guys. So this is Runcam's 16:9 micro cam. So if you have some type of goggles that like the HV3s, I believe there's the HD3 version 3s, you can run this camera 16:9, super wide, like movie theater format. If you don't have 16:9 goggles, you probably don't need a Runcam Sparrow micro cam, or the original version of the Sparrow right here. This is the larger one that's going to go on 5-inch quads, maybe 150 size to 220 to 250 size race quads. This one's also, like I said, sporting that 16:9. They both have the same voltage range on here, which is super cool, from 5 to 36 volts, and also a field of view of 150 degrees on this one and 145 degrees on this one. Now I'll go ahead and show you what comes in the box, and this is that longer box. Unlike the original Runcam Micro that was that shorter one, they decided on the original one not to give you that control cable. So it's nice that you have one of these included, because a lot of pilots want this to be able to adjust the menus inside the OSD for the camera. Brightness, contrast, color saturation, all that good stuff. You can plug this into this little cable right here, and what I usually do is I keep this cable plugged in even while I'm flying. What I do is I sneak it down underneath here, and I'll kind of hot glue it to the side somewhere out of the way of the props so that I can access it anytime. If the day gets a little bit cloudy outside, I can adjust the temperature. And by the way, I didn't see that this one has presets. So unlike the new Micro, it does not have presets on here, which I can live without. I don't think I need any presets. You also get a bag of little accessories here. You get a metal mount, and this feels pretty sturdy, a lot more sturdier than some of my 3D printed mounts. So that's really nice, because I've been relying on 3D printed mounts for my micro cameras from Runcam for quite some time. You also get a bag of different screws in here for the side of the camera and for attaching the very bottom of this little mounting hardware right here. Pretty nice. So you guys are probably wondering what the price is for the Micro Sparrow. Right now the street price on it is $29.99 on runcam.com. You can check them out. They're in their store right now, but it is on pre-order, and the expected release day is September 15th. That's when they're going to start shipping. You can pre-order one right now, but they won't ship for a couple more days. But that's not a big deal if you want to try these out. If you do have the 16:9 goggles, that's pretty awesome. And you know, it's a nice format. It's nice and wide, so you see a lot of stuff left and right, and I like the way it feels myself. Now, some people were talking about the size difference between the original Runcam Micro Swift and the Micro Sparrow. So this is the Sparrow over here on my left, and on the right I have the Micro Swift. So just going to show you here, I'm just going to line up these boards, and if you look at them from the very top, the Sparrow is actually a little bit shorter. It's a little bit thinner. It's 17 millimeters from the front of the cap to the back of this board right here. And from the front of the cap on the Runcam the Micro Swift is 19 millimeters. So a few millimeters shorter, a little bit different. Just, you know, maybe a tiny bit lighter than the original one. This one's going to be 4.6 grams, and the Micro Swift is weighing in at 5.6 grams. By the way, if you guys are wondering, this is the old Chaser 88 frame that I had laying around that I put this stuff on. And this is a Flex RC camera mount right here. So you can hop on flexrc.com and see a lot of his accessories for micros. He's got some cool stuff too. And also, I used an XT30 on here so I could get maximum power to these motors and this power system. That's the way I'm running it. Also, if you're interested in the piggyback VTX on there, that's the Runcam TX25 that just came out. It has a little wire harness set up on here so that I can plug this camera straight into that and then power my VTX off of one of my 5-volt ports on board. No problem there. And before I let you guys go, you guys have to see this. This is my 5-inch setup that I'm going to do on the Detroit multi-rotor that I have coming up on the channel. We're going to do a 5-inch build with these Emax Special Edition RS2306s. Those are the 2550 kV motors, brand new from Emax. These things are going to absolutely rip on a 5-inch quad with this F4 Magnum and my FrSky receiver on there running out to my Runcam Sparrow. This should be a really nice setup for my next 5-inch. I'm really kind of looking forward to that one. So please stay tuned on the channel and do subscribe for that one coming up. Now we're going to go outside and do a little testing with this Runcam Micro Sparrow and that new F3 Magnum Mini Tower. All right guys, here we go. Let's test out this F3 Magnum, see what it's made of, and also check out this Runcam little Sparrow here, 16:9. Just cruising out in this wide open field. I got some trees to play out with. I like this field a lot because it's good for micros. Almost flipped into the ground. I do have my rates set about 7.0 in beta flight. A little bit snappy. It's pretty good for freestyle flying, not so much for racing. Just testing out my yaw. And it feels pretty good so far. I really can't complain. It's nice and snappy. Now, I'm getting used to these motors, so forgive me if I'm not flying like my normal crazy self. I do have 1106s on a pretty small frame, so it's a little bit like a rocket out here. So, also this 25 milliwatt TX25 from Runcam seems to work pretty well. It's not as solid as something like I normally have on my mini quads, like a 200 milliwatt. So I do see some reception issues with that, but it's only when I'm really have something hard structure in the way between the path between the two. So that's kind of to be expected. I mean, 25 milliwatt, you know, you guys understand that. Most of you guys that do fly. Now, if you're just getting into this 25 milliwatt, it's about the lowest that we fly. 200 is pretty much the standard, and you can see it really start to mess up there. So out in front of you, right out in front of you, almost perfect signal with this 25 milliwatt. Except for certain angles, it seems to kind of mess up a little bit. But the camera on this Runcam Sparrow looks really good. You can actually see the leaves on the trees right there as I get close to a tree. It's pretty cool. And you can really see a lot of definition in the colors in the sky. When I go way up high, I boost up. And some of these boosts are insane with these 1106s. And this really should make the micro brushless builds a little easier. I do wish that there had been an integrated VTX into this stack, and it would have probably been more comparable to the original Magnum. If I could just be critical for a minute there. But this is not a bad board. It feels nice. I always like F3s. They do fly pretty well, and I do not have dynamic filtering on for this particular board. I'm just flying at stock beta flight right here. And now I'm just kind of cruising, back to whipping around. Little tree spins there. Just enjoying the scenery here. And you can see this, only on certain angles do I kind of get some interference. It could be when I get close to this metal structure that it's going a little bit crazy. As you can see, it kind of clears up as I get in front of myself there, the wide open air. But I still see some static in there. Almost hit that bar. And right there, at that point, I had the quad between myself and the VTX, so as it was super high above me. I go behind this tree, it'll probably fuzz out just a little bit there. Not too bad. It's a little bit of jello I could clean up in this setup. Maybe with a little bit of tuning, turn down the D a little bit, adjust that. But this quad will probably need a couple different profiles to be totally happy with these 1106s on here. You can do that now in beta flight. You can add a few different profiles if you want to switch up. Say if you're running a 3S battery, you have a 3S battery profile, then you have another profile for 2S, so you can switch back and forth between the two. And man, those 1106s will really get you up there fast. Kind of amazing how much height you can get just playing around with these trees. A little knife edge dive. But so far so good on both of these items. The Runcam Sparrow seems to be a pretty good bet for any of my micros. So I was expecting something good from Runcam, and it seems that they've kind of followed through with something good. There's no presets on this camera, but I can live without presets because you can go in there and adjust the imaging contrast and all that stuff in the menus, so no big deal there. But that TX25, I've got to maybe take a few points off for that one, because I really want to see a TX200 come out from Runcam. I'm expecting a much cleaner signal if we had 200 milliwatt on this quad. But the F4 Magnum doesn't seem to have any issues, even with this really powerful setup. So I'm gonna recommend that if you want to run 4S on any of your quads coming up this year. This is gonna be a great bet for micro brushless community for sure. So this has been my test of the F4 Magnum and the Runcam Sparrow. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one.